Close your eyes and picture a country drawn first by mountains, then by rivers, then by wind. A place where peaks reach for the blue like the ribs of a sleeping dragon. Where old towns murmur their legends into narrow streets, and where water moves with a patient mind. Vanishing into caves that feel like secret cathedrals. Now open them, because the map in your imagination is real. This is Vietnam, restless and serene, ancient and new, a long S-shaped poem stretching from misty north to warm southern delta. Stitched together by the pulse of motorbikes and the breath of monsoon winds. Come closer. Let the country tell its story the way all great stories are told. Slowly at first, with a quiet promise, then all at once, in a flood of color and light. Today, we'll trace 14 wonders across this land. Mountains that touch the clouds. Rivers that remember legends. Cities that hum with memory, and coastlines that shimmer like poetry in motion, each one a verse in Vietnam's living song. The first truth you learn here is that Vietnam lives in layers. A dragon and a fairy are said to have fallen in love and populated this land with their children. You still feel that myth in the way mountains cradle valleys and the sea shoulders the shore. You hear it in the clatter of chopsticks, the crackle of hot oil, the soft steam rising from a bowl of pho that smells of cinnamon and star anise and patient bones. You see it in the long brim of the conical hat catching rain and sun in the rice fields, and in the calm eyes of a water buffalo standing hip-deep in a flooded terrace. You feel it in the way 45 million motorbikes braid through a single intersection without touching. As if the whole city were a school of fish that learned to breathe air. Here, every corner does not simply hold something to see, it holds something to understand, if you're willing to linger. Begin where the dragons descended. In the Gulf of Tonkin, the sea becomes a theater and the sky a stage light. Ha Long Bay appears as a forest of stone rising from green water, over 1,600 limestone islands and islets, draped in a veil of plants, their bases grooved by tide and time. The legend says a family of dragons spat jewels and jade to guard the coast. Geology says rain and ocean cut karst from the bones of old mountains. A boat slides between the towers. The wake combs the bay into silver lines. In the shadow of an island, the water deepens to jade and the silence thickens. In the distance, fishermen in low boats cast nets that fall like brief, circular nights and rise stitched with silver. You drift past caves whose mouths open like yawns of the earth, past alcoves where monkeys watch you from their balconies of root and rock, and around a bend, the light breaks, and Ha Long reveals itself again. As if the bay has 100 faces, and every one of them is the right one. Beyond the main channel, Cat Ba waits, the largest of the islands, a rough-hand beautiful thing with a national park pulsing in its center. Trails thread the high ridges, beaches flash between stands of forest, and somewhere in that green tangle, the golden-headed langur, flicker of rarity, ghost of a species perched on the edge, leaps from branch to branch with the casual grace of something that remembers when the world moved slower. Turn west, climb the spine of the north, and the mountains begin to speak in terraces. Sapa arrives in your eyes like a vision of order drawn on chaos. Slopes so steep they seem to shrug off the sky, carved into green staircases by patient hands. Each terrace a page, each page a year, each year a promise that rice will rise from water again. In May, the fields are mirrors stitched across the hills. In July, they are velvet. By harvest, they are a country of gold. Push farther into the north and the road narrows, curls, clings. Hajiang is the country's sharp intake of breath. Here the mountains are limestone sawteeth, and the valleys, when they appear, are sudden, deep green with the kind of green only distance can make. The Mampileng Pass cuts along a cliff so sheer it feels borrowed from a dream of gravity. Far below, the Nokwe River bends like a jade ribbon, impossibly bright, impossibly calm, threading a gorge that seems too precise to be nature's work and too wild to be any human's plan. In the villages, the Sunday markets bloom like festivals, corn wine poured into teacups, spices mounted in pyramids, knives laid out in neat rows, babies carried in indigo slings, smiles quick and shy. The Dongvan Karst Plateau rolls away in ridges of gray and silver, stone fields punctuated by maize and buckwheat and houses built from the same rock they stand on. At the far tip of the land, a flag tower rises at Lung Ku. Then, like a sigh, the north becomes a city of lakes and legends. Hanoi is a poem that learned to drive. Around Hoan Kiem Lake, joggers float past in the soft blue hour, and at the center, a small temple waits on an island like a punctuation mark in a story older than the sidewalks. The tale says a turtle rose from the water to reclaim a divine sword and return it to its keeper beneath the surface, where it remains, guarding the city's luck. When the city exhales, the earth opens. In Quangbin, the ground becomes cathedral. Phong Nha Caves is what happens when rain becomes chisels and rock becomes patience. More than 300 caves thread the limestone like thoughts you can walk inside. In some, the ceilings arch so high a 40-story building could stand beneath them. In others, stalactites hang like teeth. Stalagmites rise like candles, and underground rivers speak in the old language of water. Sundung is the giant everyone whispers about, a world unto itself where jungles grow inside a single breath of the planet, where shafts of light cut through dolines and paint the floor with moving time. Above ground, karst peaks huddle like an audience, valleys open in sudden generosity, and rivers run so clear they seem to have been rinsed twice. You can trek, you can paddle, you can simply stand and listen to the echo of your own footsteps and recognize that you are very small and very lucky. Follow the perfume river and history steps forward in royal robes. Hue wears its past not as costume but as skin. The citadel's walls are thick as memory, moats holding the sky in their calm hands. A short arc along the coast and the present accelerates. Da Nang stands in the doorway between tradition and tomorrow and politely holds it open for both. The Dragon Bridge throws its steel body across the Han River and on weekend nights exhales fire and mist, a myth made mechanical and then made magical again by the sheer audacity of it. The Marble Mountains rise in 5 humps: metal, wood, water, fire, earth, riddled with caves where incense keeps old prayers company, and Buddha sits perfectly still in a shaft of sun. Mai Khe lays out 30 kilometers of pale sand like a ribbon. Waves unspool themselves into language anyone can understand. On Suntra Peninsula, jungle drapes the ridges and the red-shanked deuce moves with painted grace, a primate dressed as if for a festival no one else can see. And up in the Bana Hills, a pair of stone hands reaches from the mountainside to hold a gilt curve of bridge, as if the land itself has decided to help you cross. Stand there a while, the wind will take your hair. The valleys below will unfold like secrets they were always going to tell you. When heat grows heavy, the mountains call again, but with a cooler accent. Dalat is Vietnam's sigh of relief, the city built for breathers. Pines replace palms, the air slips around 20 degrees and lingers there like a guest who knows how to behave. French villas keep their shoulders squared along the hills, hydrangeas gossip in the gardens, mornings open with a white fog that thins politely by 10. Juan Hung Lake sits like a polished crescent at the town's heart, just right for an aimless lap. Out by Datanla, the water chooses delight over drama and drops in a sequence of playful falls. You can hike from tier to tier or strap into an alpine coaster that tucks laughter into your throat as it curves through the trees. Then the fantasy takes a turn and becomes a building, the so-called crazy house, an imagination grown into architecture. Po Klong Garai rises against blue sky and weathered hills, its corners crisp, its carvings elegant, its spirit intact. By now you understand the trick. Vietnam is not a list of places. It is a way the world decides to be when no one is insisting it choose. It is a bay full of stone dragons and a capital where a turtle guards a legend. It is terraces that turn the curve of a mountain into a calendar and a pass that threads the edge of a thought. It is a cave so vast jungles dream inside it, and a bridge so bold stone hands rise to hold it. It is lanterns floating down a river that knows exactly where it is going, and vineyards catching salt breezes on a coast that refuses to be just one thing. It is the hush of pagodas and the brash joy of kites above sand. It is motorbikes that weave like calligraphy and alleyways where soup and history share a table. It is the discipline of craft and the wildness of weather and the hospitality that tastes like someone saved you the best seat because they knew you were coming. So you carry it. You carry Ha Long in the green of your sleep and Sapa in the shape of your breath when you climb stairs 2 at a time. You carry Ha Giang in the way your eyes measure distance now, not by kilometers, but by awe. You carry Hanoi in your pockets like warm stones, an old song, a new friend, a lake that keeps a secret. You carry Phong Nha as a quiet inside your chest, a reminder that the world is complicated and generous. You carry Hue in your spine when you stand straighter in beautiful rooms. Da Nang in your grin when the ridiculous becomes sublime. Hoi An in your hunger for light. You carry Dalat in the patience of your mornings, Phan Rang in your respect for how the past can persist without hardening, Mui Ne in a grain of sand you'll find months later in the corner of a bag and be glad for, and Saigon in a new tempo, a metronome you didn't know you needed.